Alright, Section 3 System Operation, Pump Station Operation. Ensure all special local environmental protection requirements are used with the power, petroleum, oil, lubricant systems are being operated. Check with the local environmental compliance office to identify with the special operating requirements. The inland petroleum distribution system will begin with a beach termination until they are operated by the Navy. It can also be used with the tactical petroleum terminal manifold at the host nation bulk storage facility, whatever the beginning point of the booster pump station feeds up to 6-inch inland petroleum distribution system coupled aluminum pipe. The pipeline can be used with a multi-product pipeline for several types of fuel, including JP4, JP8, JA1, and diesel gas. Multi-directional pipeline system fuel batching is required, with the batching is covered in more detail chapter 9 of this manual. In batching different fuels with a tendency to mix with the two batches touch commonly with the nose. The interface is diverted from the pipeline to the contaminated fuel tanks. At tactical petroleum terminal, the fuel may be introduced the reblending of stock, and it may be waste product of which was disposed to avoid waste. Keep interface as short as possible. At JP8 becomes signal fuel battlefield. The need of the batch station fuels and pipeline will stop. The continuous need of the gas will require package refueling supply actions. Your pump station startup. The number of steps of the pump. The station online pump station startups are: check pumps until the actual starting time before operation. Maintenance. Start both pumps. Set power on and off switch on to panel light on and off switch on if needed. Mode control manual automatic with switch manual. Turn engine RPM discharge pressure control fully clockwise low speed position. Push in, stop, and switch in. Press stress test slam switch. Alarm light should come on and go off when the button is released. Verify the clutch is disengaged down position. Press the engine start switch. Keep switch pressed until the engine fires. The engine fails fire. Refer to take a manual troubleshooting chart. After engine starts, observe engine RPM gauge to verify an engine is idling at a speed approximately 18 to 1,000 RPMs. Warm up pumps with the pump discharge valve closed until the engine reaches the operating temperature of 125 degrees and idle speed approximately 800 to 100,000 RPMs. Engine mainline bypass side valves on receiver launcher are open. Ensure that the strainer is open readily to operate. Open suction valve on both pumps. When suction pressures vent air out over the pump suction, use the 4 vent valves in order from lowest to highest. Open the valve until the fuel flow from the pump. Close the valve before proceeding to the next one. Use the drip pan with a cast of discharge product. Dispose all hazard waste, IAW federal, state, local, and host nation regulatory guidance on pump to be used if there is at least 100 psi suction pressure increase in gauge catching up. Observe the discharge valve slowly. Place pump control automatic mode slowly. Increase the pump engine speed of discharge pressure required by the dispatcher. Increase discharge pressure while maintaining 100 psi suction pressure. If 100 psi suction pressure cannot be kept during startup, notify the dispatcher. Shut down standby pump after startup charges. Discharge pressure is attained. Normal shutdown. Pipeline dispatcher directs normal shutdown. Shutdown of the pump that operates slowly. Turn with the discharge pressure counterclockwise until the engine is idle. He switched to the manual mode with the disengage with the clutch. After idling at least 1 minute, the operator shuts down the engine and suction with the discharge gate valve fully closed. The pressure should be taken off the pump by bleeding if and off from the casing vents. This prevents pressure building up due to the sun and atmospheric temperature. Forced shutdown. Several reasons to do for a forced shutdown pump and safety shutdown features include automatic shutdown due to low suction pressure, engine overspeed, high coolant temperature, low oil pressure. Other mechanical problems may cause pump to shut down without starting automatic shutdown feature. Pump operator shut down with the pump with the following condition situation: excessive noise, vibration, notice. If the sudden drop of the discharge pressure, which could be caused by the line break, operating error, downstream of the speed of the pump unit will be suddenly increased with the pump. If operating with the automatic mode, the operator should adjust the discharge pressure set point downward by rotating counterclockwise to reduce the speed. If the problem downstream is temporary or minor, they will take care of until solved. The major problem downstream of the pump engine speed will continue to increase. The operator should deliberately shut down the pump unless told otherwise by the dispatcher. If the operator cannot shut off the pump until soon enough, it will shut down automatically due to the engine overspeed. In the event of a sudden drop of the discharge pressure when the pump is being operated with the manual mode, the operator should reduce the engine speed. If the major problem in the pipeline. The discharge pressure will continue with the drop of the pump that should be shut down unless advised otherwise by the dispatcher line breaker. The operating error of the can cause sudden drop of the suction pressure unless advised otherwise by the dispatcher. Operator should deliberately shut the pump down when the suction pressure drops to 14 psi. If the pump is not shut down, deliberately start slowing down at 14 psi. Shut down if pressure at 10 psi cannot or continuously 15 seconds with a possibly manual shut pump down before it shut down with the automatic safety feature. The pump does not shut down automatically. The operator should advise dispatcher next upstream and downstream station immediately. If the shutdown is caught automatically by any situation described above, except for the sudden discharge pressure drop, engine overspeed, sudden suction pressure drop, the operator should place the spare pump online unless the dispatcher directs otherwise. If the pump operating with the automatic mode of the line is blocked downstream, the pump will be marked reduced toward the idle speed, but the suction pressure will go up. Unless the operator has prior knowledge of it has happening, he should immediately notify the operator downstream when the dispatcher of the line block continues without notifying the temporary with the pump shut down. Pump is operating manual mode of the line block downstream discharge suction pressures will suddenly increase. The operator should immediately reduce the pump speed to reduce discharge pressure. Should reduce the idle speed if necessary. Under no conditions could the discharge pressure exceed 740 psi gauge. The operator should immediately notify the operation downstream of the dispatcher if occurs as an automatic load line block continues without notice for the temporary with the pump shall be shut down. Shifting pumps during operation. Prior to operation, spare pumps must be flooded or purged with the unsuction gate, warm with the spare pump and engine with the control of the manual position, clutch disengaged, the engage the clutch, engine idle, opening discharge valve with the set of the control, automatic mode, gradually move the control of the manage for the discharge pressure, operating pump, monitor the suction pressure closely with the online operating pump, automatically slow down with the spare pump, will speed with the discharge pressure with the two pumps match, gradually move with the control of the operating pump until engine idles, the spare pump will speed up with the take of the full load discharge pressure necessary to hold the system flow rate desired. Spare pump has full load, the suction pressure is stay with the pump that was previously lined, shut down spare pump is now operating pump. Pipeline pump fueling facility, 3,000 gallon collapsible fabric tank used with storage fuel for the operating of the pump tank stations. This one collapsible tank of each of the pump station tanks located near each pump station operated IAW Technical 5543021012 transfer fuel with a 3,000 gallon for the fuel tank, pump skids, and an auxiliary tank connection hose valve with a hand pump, then starting pump. Alright, strainer assembly operations. Hold on real quick. I gotta turn the air conditioner on. Alright, strainer assembly operations. Strainer assembly installed with the upstream of the pipeline pump to protect with the damaged tube, with the dirt, with the debris, with the pipeline assembly contained with the two strainer and pair well. Normally only one strainer used at the time, with the other one would stand by with the strainers are put in, serve with the taking out, serve with the opening and closing with the gate valve with the assembly. One valve with the upstream, downstream with the strainer being put in the service before with the closing valve with the strainer being taken out, serve with the pipeline is operational, left the strainer is being isolated. For depressing inspection, maintenance leave with the discharge valve open and with the inlet valve closed with the container not in service to avoid with the possibility of overpressure during the thermal expansion. Strainers collect dirt and debris with the line with the before entry with the pump with the strainer with the has collected sufficient dirt with the pressure differential curve with the strainer with the increase shown with the strainer has removed from surface clean. Initial clean pressure drop of the curve of the strainer will vary with the rate of flow with the difference of viscosity with the flowing fluid. Pressure drop has increased with the predetermined PSI normally not more than 5 PSI. Play with the other strainer. Serve with the black vent drain with the dirty strainer. Remove the basket clean with the remove the debris with accumulated with the bottom of the housing as well. The check with the strainer damage wear with the placing in the back and housing. Replace strainer closure. Close with the drain vent valves. Open the discharge valve. Clean the strainer with the end is then on standby ready for service. When it gets dirty with it. As many as gets dirty as possible. Something that the pipeline can cut, break, or badly erode the strainer and indicate that they may be given the pressure drop with increase with the use of the indicate with the disassembly inspection strainer given the above. Damage is found, replace and repair with a strainer basket. Warning, do not open the strainer closure unless the strainer is blocked with it has been thoroughly depressed by first opening the drain valve, then vent valve. Be sure the drain hose is connected securely with the gravity collection container or some. Pipe scraper operations. Power purge for the scraper unit that didn't enhance the speed with the initial purge fill operation to clean the pipeline contaminants for the obstruction excess with the drop of the pressure over the period of the time of the drain scale particles shout out when the fuel may collect for the build up in the pipeline line screen Scrapers run through the pipeline to prevent the debris from the building up the line, with the pipeline dispatcher will schedule the actual scraper operation, pumping over the scraper to run with the launch with the one pump station, receiver at the next pump station. There's a scraper indicated with each of the barrel that show the scraper has launched with the received by weight walking along the pipeline scraper that has been heard as possible. Each of the coupling scraper capacities and with 6-inch pipeline various rates of flow given in table 7.2. 100 0.6 miles per hour, 200 gallons per minute, 1.4 miles an hour, 300 gallons per minute, 3.1, 400 2.8, 500 2.5, 600 4.2, and 750 gallons per minute at 5.2 miles per hour. Type of the scraper, the various types of scraper, the pick the different stuff available in the market. Cup scrapers constructed entirely polyurethane have been found with the most suitable inland petroleum distribution system pipeline there. And 10 of the general services include with the Purgeville operations. Initially, 5 scrapers have been supplied. Each launcher cleaning launcher operation for the scrapers launched with the downstream receiver must be ready to trap the scraper to insert the scraper and its pipeline following procedure. Check to make sure launcher bypass valve is fully open, closed side mainline valve to isolate barrel launcher assembly, open launcher assembly vent valve, release pressure from the barrel, open the drain valve with the drain fuel with the launcher barrel into the container with the open safety valve, end of closure, open and launch barrel, end closure, end scraper and launch barrel with the push of the scraper as far as it will go into the launcher barrel. Close and tighten end, secure, closure, close the safety vent valve, close the drain valve, note check the safety valve on only hand tight if the leaks of the barrel have been filled, use the crescent wrench to tighten it. Step by pushing flow flag down, slowly open the side valve, completely close the launcher assembly vent valve when the barrel is open. When directed, dispatch launch scraper, slowly open the mainline valve completely, slowly close the bypass valve with the bypass valve with the flow is diverted with the barrel, causing the scraper to be carried forced into the pipeline when the scraper is indicated in figure 7.1. Indication that the scraper has been launched. Note for the dispatcher movement of the scraper to launch on bypass valve of the scraper has been carried out over the launcher barrel by the fuel flow. Always operate with the wet barrel, leaving the side mainline bypass valve open. Shift the flap, lubricator cap, assembly thread, nipple flow, receiver operation, scraper to receiver that's similar to figure 7.9, page 7.9. Recommended sand receiver to operate receiver that disclose below the receiver the scraper to make sure the receiver the barrel with the closure tight when ensure the drain valve safety vents are closed. Open side bypass mainline valve with the receiver the assembly during minimal operations. Test scraper to indicator check bypass valve. Director flow fuel with the barrel. Remove the scraper of the receiver. Then following procedure with the scraper ends into the receiver barrel. Scraper indicator will pop up. Then notify the dispatcher scraper arrival to open bypass valve. Close the mainline side valves. Open receiver barrel vent drain valve with the drain product with a suitable container to dispose of the hazard waste, i.e. W federal, state, local, host nation, and regulatory guidance. Open safety vent valve with the open receiver the barrel end closure. Remove the scraper, clean out receiver the barrel, close and tighten ends closure, safety vent, close with the drain valve. Open slide valve slowly the fill receiver the fuel with the close of the receiver barrel vent. After receiver barrel is fully open, mainline valve during the mainline manual normal operation, leave all valves open. Decision should be run with a wet barrel, tracing the scraper. The scrapers run with the launcher with the one pump station to receiver the next pump station. The several way to trace the scraper movement into the pipeline. Small battery operated transmitter attached to the scraper to send the signal which be picked up with the receiver by pipeline patroller. Magnetized metal scraper can be used with a detector sensitive magnetic forces. Detector used by pipeline patrol registers and increase the magnetic activity of the magnetic scraper bypass. Because inland petroleum distribution systems use aluminum pipe, do not use chain attached to the scraper. The method could cause the damage of the pipe section. Your stuck scraper, if possible, the scraper could get stuck in the line during a run. The scraper could probably free, increasing the pressure line and increase the force behind the scraper should push the scraper loose and move it along with the fuel flow. Care should be taken not to overpressure the line. Increase the pressure in the line does not free the scraper. Line must be taken apart to remove the scraper. Do not try to free stuck scraper by putting another scraper in the line. Second scraper may not free the first one and get stuck behind it. Purge, fill, and pressure test operation. Purge, fill operation will remove purge from all the air system, fill system, pumpable fluid pressure test is probably prove the integrity of the system does not test the strength of the system. Test pressures are limited. Design maximum allowing operating pressure at 740 psi inland petroleum distribution systems. Internal cleanliness and awareness. Install procedure that emphasizes the important internal cleanliness and pipeline area with the system suspected containing junk construction wave tools should be disassembled, cleaned before the purge fill, and tested. The initial purge fill will clean the remainder. Will collect the strain of the receiver. The will can be removed and proceed with the complete before normal operations start. Pressure gauge relief valve before the purge and fill of the test operations can be started with all pressure gauges must read correctly. Set the thermal relief valve with the correct relief pressure on location. Preparatory steps before operating but can be started. All personnel involved must know the duties and safety precautions required. Install all fire extinguishers required. Inspect pipelines to be filled. Make sure all couplings are properly closed, but there is no excessive coupling deflection. Check all the support guide, anchor, and expansion contraction devices are in place. Open all immediate isolation gates installed with a 1 mile interval. And pipeline check all other valves, include all vents, drains, the sampling, assembly valves, so that there is no starting condition. Check adequate fuels available at the pump station that pumps the equipment of ready operation. Make sure your communication is operational. Alright, your purge fill test procedure. The pipeline should be initially purged and filled with the pressure test with the fresh water with the source of the developed in the field with the waters injected with the upstream with the pump booster pump as closed over the host nation facility. Tactical control and terminal possible fill rate with a held with the 50 gallons per minute with until the meter booster pump is flooded and free of air. Once the booster pump is flooded with the hydraulic power that can be supplied with the system pump, the pumps can also test pressure required with a fill rate of 200 gallons per minute. Recommended after the system starts scrapers the line so ahead of the water. High point valve vents are used necessary to assist in removing the air vapor during the quantity of the water available. The line must be tested all at once or by section of the test pressure of the hose line not exceed the design maximum operating pressure. The whole of the test pressure long enough to thoroughly inspect the system for leaks and faults of the test pressure of the system. Correct leaks and fouls. Retest system after corrections have been made to avoid corrosion. Remove the water from the system immediately. Test and complete procedures with fuel filling operation. In case the line is only partially filled with water, do not fully drain and dried, must not be exposed to the air, may extend for the period of time, and the fill over the fuel places promptly after the pressure test is complete with the fuel displacing water. The water is disposed at the EOL launcher scrapers at the first pump station immediately over the fuel and water interface path with the remove of the remaining water. Fuel filter interface received with the head terminal contaminated fuel module, which is subsequently disposed. Keep all water clean of the fuel storage tank. Hose lines, system, purge, fuel, head to terminal hose lines, which can take place out of the pipeline, impacting fuel, or it may take place from fuel from tank vehicles from pipelines. Remember the purge and fill rate. The hose line should be kept at below 200 gallons per minute. The fill rate should be held at 50 gallons per minute until meters are flooded and avoided possible overspeeding due to the high air flow. Purge, fill, and pressure tests are at hose lines in the normally operation. Alright, your alternative purge and fill test method. In some cases, the adequate fresh water may not be available. The recommended purge fill test operation. Nevertheless, system compromised. Properly pressure testing recommended. In any case, the other methods listed specify preference based on safety given. The diesel fuel fill proceeds with fresh water plug. Diesel fuel fill proceed with nitrogen plug. Diesel fuel fill scraper only. Jet fuel proceed with water plug. Jet fuel proceed with nitrogen plug. Jet fuel proceed with diesel plug. Reference of the plug above the mains of the quality of the buffer fluid, liquid, and gas at the head of the fill fluid with the receiver of the launch for the cup scraper at the head of the buffer fluid and another head of the fill fluid. This creates a plug buffer zone between volatile fill fluid and air in the pipeline. Large quantity of the plug not required. A plug of the 1,000 gallons of water, which is 600 feet long, and adequate 300 cubic foot. The cylinder with the nitrogen would provide a plug of the 1,000 feet long. Plug fluid volume must be maintained. It may not be necessary to inject more volume due to the difficulty ensuring the nitrogen plug has not been allowed to overly dilute. The new plug of the volume must be injected with the launcher before each fill of the test pipeline section. Any of the nitrogen plug volume per purity injection. More nitrogen than the order of listing with a purge fill meant for the relay with a volatility flashpoint fill test fluid. Avoid explosive fuel air mixtures within the pipeline. Use volatile flame liquids. For testing initial use of the pipeline, initial diesel fuel is preferred. Available to jet fuel with relatively high flash points of the JP5, JPA1, other commercial jet fuel grades. No high flash points are acceptable with the plugs listed. Jet fuel JP4 should be avoided. Initial fuel with the test due to the low flash point. Most people that take special care maintain low flow rates. Adequate buffer plug. MoGas does not recommend initial purge or fill fluid. Our pipeline fuel transfer, inland petroleum distribution system line operated direct communication have with the normal operation conduct with the communication between the distributor pump station head terminals for safety breach of the receiving terminal control of the fuel transfer to confirm The terminal is ready that can receive the fuel before pumping. State of the terminal must be able to stop the fuel flow with the include shutdown with the completion of the plan, fuel transfer, other reasons the normal operating pipeline pumps with the automatic discharge pressure. Control made with the operating stem of the control point. They'll monitor the discharge pressure continually high pressure except for the control set point. Shut pump down if the discharge pressure exceeds 740 psi. Alright, transfer procedure, fuel train for the host bulk nation facility with the beach termination of the head terminal pump and must save with the supplying bulk facility with the booster pump with the enough suction pressure 5 to 10 psi minimum. Starting pump at the stations will suction pressure reaches 70 to 100 psi. Keep suction pressure range with relatively steady conditions established. Then keep it about 50 psi. Increase the pumping rates to 600 gallons per minute, starting with the supply bulk facility pumps. If available, then add the booster pump of the pipeline pump stations. Suction pressure available, the controlling factor for the control pressure below 125 psi into the head terminal pressure regulating valve assembly, EOLO, or technical petroleum terminal intake control pressure, back pressure, in the pipeline minimum of 50 psi. Shutdown process procedure. Pipeline is normally shut down with the shutting down with the pump station closest to the head terminal with the pressure regulating valve of the EOL, technical petroleum terminal inlet. Intake will automatically cover the upstream pressure drops of the 250 psi. If the line blocked down, stream EOL technical petroleum terminal intake pressure regulator with the closest pump station shut down. Suction pressure begins to increase. The booster pump is shut down when the suction pressure begins. With the increase of the first pump station is shut down. Supplying bulk facility pumps are shut down when the booster pump shuts down. Under these conditions, the line is placed in fully packed under pressure. Alright, communication failure. If communication fails and terminal must stop with the fuel flow down, so for the blocking of the downstream of the EO pressure regulating valve will call for the close of the pump will next to upstream pressure. Upstream pump station will go into idle, greatly reduce the speed due to restricted flow. Automatic discharge pump pressure control. Suction pressure will increase rapidly. Indicator single the operator shut pumps down. Each pump of the station downstream of this concession shut down with the operator select suction pressure increase of pump goes into initial ideal with a greatly reduced speed. Booster pump will shut down with the first pump station in line shut down. Emergency operating procedures. Emergency operating procedure given in table 7.3, pages 725, 726. Give the procedure when emergency arises. Alright, pipeline separation. Immediately shut down with the pump. The pump to meet with the upstream with the will possibly shut down with the overstream. Immediately isolate with the first upstream with the first downstream with the pump with the brake with the closed with the proper block valve. As soon as possible, cover the intermediate isolation gate valve with the both side with the brake with the safety accessible. Route firefighting equipment. The crew with the air with the brake and pop with the do safely isolate with the spill with the earth, the deck, and ditching, drain and spill away from the pipeline if possible. If fires occur, extinguish fire with the standby and clean up spill with the start, repair, recommission to determine the cause of the brakes and take corrective action, avoid recurrence. Serious pipeline leak. Shut down pipe in an orderly fashion. Shut down the upstream and then downstream with the valve with a suction prop with the 15 psi reduce the line pressure as possible. Close the intermediate isolation valve with the closest to the eave of the side of the leak route with the firefighting equipment. The personal leak location fire occur with the extinguisher fire standby. If there's light accumulation, clean up at the drain and away from the pipeline. Possible to do the safety press the drain line when the air with the leak is necessary. Repair or leakage of the set. Repair with recommission. Determine the cause of the leakage to take corrective action and avoid recurrence. Hose line breaker, section, serious leak. Shut down transfer, taking with the pipeline reroute with the firefighting equipment. Personal leak, air with extinguishing fire standby. Block the hose line with a section with a having the leak is depressed. The under pressure of the drain, the hose line in a segment. Move the hose line away from the spill area. If possible, repair and replace, isolate with the spill and clean it up. Fabric tank rupture, serious leak. Shut down pump in the tank, start pumping over the tank of another tank and save the distance of the rupture tank with the empty with the rupture tank route the firefighting equipment, the personal tank location, extinguish any fire with a standby, check with the integrity of the berm, correct with the extent and then save it to do so with the berm of the broken and the leaking. Seriously isolate the drain with the earth and dikes, pump out an accumulated fuel inside the burn, replace and repair or replace tank. Alright, brake serious leak in pump station. Shut down the pump station, cover the block valve with each side of the brake, move the firefighting equipment personnel with it if there's fire to extinguish and standby, clean up the spill, call for the brake with the make correction, repair with the replace the necessary equipment. Serious spill over due to operational error. Operator error. Immediately shut down the pump supplying with a spill with a shut off the valve nearest spill with a closely safely. Move the firefighting equipment, the person with the air with the spill with extinguish any of the fire with standby, clean up the spill with the etiquette. Educate the person who air with cover the spill for the beginning of the operation. Overflowing the tank. Shut down pumping of the tank. Shut pumping of the overflowing of the tank. Bring the level down to the acceptable point. Reroute firefighting equipment. Person in the tank air with the fire result. Put it in it. Out and standby pumping. Accumulated fuel inside of the berm. Inspect the tank of the damage. Start operation with the tank as necessary. Fire. Immediately shut off flow of the fuel air if the pump station terminal. Shut down all operation route firefighting equipment. Personal to the air. Start with the extinguisher and fire with the fire under control. Standby. Evacuate personnel not involved in the fire. Critical operation. Remove the fuel accumulation of the cover of the fire and are subject to reignition. Remember the cause of fire and correct it and make repairs and replacement as necessary. Section 4. Maintenance. Testing.